held in conformity to the Open Public Meeting Act, NJSA 10-4-6. Proper public notice of the meeting was published in local papers, January 11th in the Community News, January 13th in the Jersey Journal. If any board member or member of the public in attendance believes that this meeting is in violation of the Open Public Meeting Act, the Bayonne Board of Ed requests that they make a statement at this time. The board wishes to make those in attendance aware that this meeting is being recorded on video, will be broadcast by the board at a later date on BEN TV on Cablevision Channel 77. The Bayonne Board of Education is committed to preserving the decorum of the public process and is mindful that we live in an electronic age of computers, cell phones, and other electronic communication devices. Nevertheless, we respectfully request that all meeting participants kindly silence their electronic devices during the course of the meeting. If your use of a device is necessary, we ask that you please leave the meeting room if you need to conduct personal business. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For the record, this is a public meeting of the Bayonne Board of Education. It is 8 p.m., the 25th day of January. We're convening in the Anna J. Herbert Meeting Room. The presiding officer is Joseph Broderick, President of the Bayonne Board of Education. Those in attendance include Dr. Patricia L. McGeehan, Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Kenneth Kopaz, Assistant Superintendent for Personnel, Dr. Gary Maida, Board Secretary, Mr. Leo J. Smith, Jr., Assistant Superintendent for Business, Dr. Dennis Degnan, Assistant Superintendent for Curriculum and Instruction, and Mitchell Pasquale, our Board Counsel. The meeting's open to the public. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Cruden.
Here.
Trustee Desmond.
Here.
Trustee Finnerty.
Here.
Trustee Garlick.
Present.
Trustee Lawande.
Here.
Trustee Munoz.
Here.
Trustee Ryan.
Here.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Here.
President Broderick.
Here. For the record, adequate written advance notice of at least 48 hours, given the time, date, and location of this meeting with the agenda was provided as follows. Notice was prominently posted in City Hall at 630 Avenue C on the bulletin board reserved for such announcements of the Board of Education. The Board Secretary sent such notice to the Jersey Journal and the Bayonne Community News. Notice was filed with the Municipal Clerk of the City of Bayonne, Mr. Robert F. Sloan.
Okay, this evening our consent agenda consists of resolutions 1 to 33. So on our consent agenda, do I have a motion?
I'll move.
And do I have a second?
I second.
So I have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Trustee Cruden,
Yes.
Trustee Desmond,
Yes.
Trustee Finnerty,
Yes.
Trustee Garlick,
Aye.
Trustee Lawande,
Yes.
Trustee Munoz,
Yes.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck,
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
We'll now turn to Resolution 34. Whereas Michaela Stokes, a junior at Bayonne High School, is recognized for being elected to the New Jersey State Board of Student Councils. She will be an incoming recording secretary for the school year 2017-18. Whereas Michaela Stokes has achieved this honor by defeating her opponent from Union City. This prestigious accomplishment is a credit to our high school district student council program and its advisors. Whereas Michaela's achievements are a result of her dedication and commitment to her academic studies, now therefore be it resolved that this Board of Education wishes to extend its sincere congratulations to Michaela Stokes for being exemplary and wish her success in her future endeavors, and this is by the Committee of the Whole.
Okay.
Yeah, we're very, very proud of you. Not only is this student a born leader, she certainly is an academic student, a member of our academy, correct? And she's also an athlete. And she's a cheerleader, and she's getting ready for state competition, correct? So she was excused from practice, so she has to run right back there. So we're very, very proud of her. She's done an outstanding job. I just want the audience to know what a fantastic honor this is to be a student that's been selected of all the school districts in the state of New Jersey. She's one of the big five, correct, in the state of New Jersey. So we're very, very proud of her. And we have our mom here. Please come up, Marisol. Marisol is an employee of ours, and she is certainly very, very proud. Also our moderators, Ms. Tenkin, if you would come up, and Ms. Barone, if you would come up, please. These are the teams that are okay. Now we'll take over. So you take the place of honor, Michaela. Come on up, please.
Congratulations. You sit right there.
Here, that's the president.
Marisol, you sit right next to me.
Marisol,
Come on,
come
Mr.
on
Diaz,
over
you
here.
sit right next to you.
You sit right here. Here, sit in this one. This is a little bit more comfortable. Besides, that's the vice president chair. So we got the president and the vice president. Hi, Maddie.
Hi, Dennis. Hello.
Hi.
She wants to stay here for the night.
No, she has practice.
I'm much stronger than you, thank you. There aren't many people who are shorter than you, Karen. No, there aren't.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good luck. Congratulations. Oh, we took President Lee to the, that's the meeting, kiss him.
At this time, we're going to adjourn to a closed session for legal, personnel, and negotiation items. We will return. It is 8:10 p.m. At this time, we're going to reconvene the public meeting. It is 9:29. I'll take a new roll call. Trustee Cruden. Trustee Desmond.
Here.
Trustee Finnerty.
Here.
Trustee Garelick. Present. Trustee Lawande.
Here.
Trustee Munoz. Here. Trustee Ryan. Here. Vice President Wilbeck.
Here.
President Broderick.
Here.
Okay. We are now going to start with our non-consent agenda, which will start with Resolution 35. All of the resolutions are on the bulletin board, so I won't read the complete resolutions, but Resolution 35 is adding additional personnel to parent workshops. It is only the highlighted names on the resolution. Do I have a motion on 35?
I'll motion.
And a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second on Resolution 35. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Finnerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garelick?
Aye.
Trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Abstain.
And President Broderick.
Yes.
36 is a resolution for assignments and reassignments. It is Eileen Linder, Horace Mann Community School, Elementary School K-6 teacher, to Title I teacher. And Alana Shinnick, Title I teacher to Horace Mann Community School, Elementary School K-6 teacher. Do I have a motion
I will make a motion.
and a second?
Second.
On that motion and second, trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond.
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Garrett,
Aye.
trustee Lawande,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck,
Yes.
president Broderick.
Yes.
37. Whereas the Bayonne Board of Education is desirous to continue its Title I program. Whereas the superintendent of schools, Dr. Patricia L. McGeehan, has recommended additional personnel to be assigned to the Title I program. It's Eileen Linder. Her assignment is Horace Mann Community School. Annual salary, $52,790. Program salary, it's 6 months at 100%, so that would be $31,674 to the Title I program. Correct? Correct. Do I have a motion
I will make a motion.
and a second?
I second.
On that motion and second, trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Gerlich,
Aye.
trustee Lawande,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck,
Yes.
president Broderick.
Yes.
38. This is for architectural services for upgrade of district facilities. This resolution is for 1 month. It's for January 26, 2017, to and including February 28, 2017. Do I have a motion? And I'm sorry, it's DMR Architects. So this is for 1 month. Do I have a motion?
I move.
And a second?
I'll second.
Mr. D'Angelo.
I asked last board meeting to put the monetary value of these contracts.
We haven't actually awarded the full year yet, and as soon as we do that, I will furnish the information that came into you, for you.
For the month.
It's only as an as-needed basis, and we're not needing them. But we have to have them listed just in case of emergency. So we have, I believe, a motion and a second? Okay. So a motion and a second on 38, trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Garrett,
Aye.
trustee Lawande,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck,
Yes.
president Broderick.
Yes.
Same thing with 39, this is for 1 month, January 26, 2017, to and including February 28th. Engineering services, Neglia Engineering Services. It is also on an as-needed basis. Do I have a motion
I move.
and a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and second on 39. Trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee Desmond,
Yes.
trustee Finerty,
Yes.
trustee Garrett,
Aye.
trustee Lawande,
Yes.
trustee Munoz,
Yes.
trustee Ryan,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck,
Yes.
president Broderick.
Yes.
40, same, January 26, 2017, to and including February 28, 2017. This is legal services, labor, Abruzzi, McDermott, Mastro, and Murphy, PC. Do I have a motion
I move.
and a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second on number 40. Trustee Cruden,
Yes.
trustee, Mr. D'Angelo?
How much?
Depends on, it's on an as-needed basis, the same as the other.
How do you charge? How does the board?
$190 an hour.
We-
$190 per hour.
The board in December went out for RFPs on architectural, on engineering, and on legal. Like I said, as soon as the board awards a full-year contract, I'll release all those documents. So I had a motion and a second, and trustee Cruden voted yes. Go ahead, Mr. D'Angelo.
Then I'm not understanding. On the yearly budget, it lists this law firm, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last year's budget listed it as $225,000 for that year. Now, how is that different than what you're passing tonight?
I don't understand the
What the
question.
board is passing is a continuation under the same terms and conditions as the prior year, which is $190 an hour for services rendered.
Is there no limit on the hours?
There would be no limit on the hours. What the limit is on the assignments.
So how is the board to estimate what it would cost them?
The board, as it does with all vendors, tallies what they're spending per month, and then determines whether they want to continue a service, stop a service,
So
change a service.
then tell me what the $225,000 was in the previous budget.
That would be for,
Budgeted amount.
for labor relations, negotiations, employment matters, special education matters, Affordable Care Act administration, general education matters, things of that nature.
Anything that your firm handles for the board, up and to including 225. Can it go over 225?
Depending on the assignment, if there's assignments, yeah, if there was some type of,
Last year, in the last budget, did it go over 225?
I don't
225,000?
know.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we're still on 40. Trustee Cruden voted yes. Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
Aye.
Trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
On 41, legal services, it's General, Chasen, Lamparello, Mallon, and Capuzzo, PC. This is still 1 month, January 26, 2017, to and including February 28th, 2017. Do I have a motion
I move.
and a second?
I'll second.
Question, Mr. D'Angelo?
I'm looking at 41, and I see the dates, the 26th of January, 28th of February. That's what you just referred to, right?
Tomorrow, going all the way to our next meeting, yeah.
Now, the second page, which isn't numbered, and it's before page, Resolution 42, I assume is part of this. And that's January 26, 17.
No, the board had, on all 4 of these resolutions, the board had 2 versions. One for a month, one for a calendar year. The board chose to go with 1 month on all 4 resolutions.
So I shouldn't even have this.
Well,
Cross it out.
you have them because that was what was before the board. They chose to do 1 month, which is the first, I believe, the first copy
I got it.
of each of the
I
resolutions.
got it.
Okay? So we have a motion and a second on 41. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
Aye.
Trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
42, whereas vacancies exist for over 60 days in certain disciplines in the Bayonne Public School, whereas these vacancies have been filled by the same substitute for 60 school days. Whereas per the statute NJSA 18A 16-1.1, a substitute possessing a certificate of eligibility and is substituting in the same position for more than 60 school days must be compensated on a prorated basis beginning the 61st school day based upon the following annualized rates for the duration of the assignments. Therefore, be it resolved that the below-named substitute will be compensated on a prorated basis for the duration of their current assignment based upon the salaries adjacent to their names and effective dates. Daniel Bach, monthly salary, $5,279. Date of compensation adjustment, December 8th, 2016. Do I have a motion
I'll motion.
and a second?
I second.
On that motion and second, Trustee Cruden,
Yes.
Trustee Desmond,
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
Trustee Garrett,
Aye.
Trustee Lawande,
Yes.
Trustee Munoz,
Yes.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Abstain.
Okay, Resolution 43 is being tabled.
What is that?
Okay, now we're going to move over to our next batch of resolutions, starting with number 44. Whereas this Board of Education has employees in management positions who are not represented or covered by the collective bargaining agreement with regards to conditions of employment and salaries. Whereas this Board of Education wishes to establish the salaries for those unrepresented employees for the 2015-16 and the 2016-17 school years. Therefore, be it resolved that the salaries of the 12-month secretary clerks are hereby approved as per the attached schedule. Be it further resolved that the collective bargaining agreement for the 10-month secretary clerks be used as a guide for all conditions of employment, with the exception of salary schedule, time schedule, work calendar, and health benefits for all non-represented, non-certificated personnel, except for part-time staff under contract, who will not be granted sick leave days. And be it further resolved that all non-represented certified personnel use other collective bargaining agreements as a guide for all conditions of employment, with the exception of salary schedule, time schedule, work calendar, and health benefits. Be it further resolved that this resolution is effective immediately. And there's a second page to this, which is a 12-month secretary guide for the a base year of 2014-15, year 2015-16, and then year 2, 2016-17. Do I have a motion
I'll motion.
I'll second.
and a second?
I'll second.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Can you tell me if the differential is 10% on those secretaries?
Mr. Smith says yes.
It is, we followed what we had previously followed for all of those years, Mr. D'Angelo.
Except for the $4,200.
That's sort of, not here to
No,
stop.
but that wouldn't be listed on here. Is that part of their salary? I mean, it's obviously part of their compensation. Is it part of their salary, is it pensionable?
Yes.
It's compensation that's pensionable.
I wanted, maybe we can get a microphone on your table? No, just take one of these over. Thank you. All right, so 44, we have a motion and a second. On that motion and second, Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Abstain.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garrelli?
Aye.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
And President Broderick.
Yes.
45, whereas the Bayonne Board of Education is authorized to transfer a certificated or non-certificated officer or employee upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education that upon the recommendation of Superintendent Erica Flowers, Secretary, 10 months, at John M. Bailey School Number 12, be transferred to the position of Secretary, 10 months, at Midtown Community School. That the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of her employment status, and that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
A motion?
and a second?
I'll second.
On that motion and second, Trustee Cruden,
Yes.
Trustee Desmond,
Yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes.
Trustee Garrelli,
Aye.
Trustee Lawanda,
Yes.
Trustee Munoz,
Yes.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck,
Yes.
and President Broderick.
Yes.
46, whereas the Bayonne Board of Education is authorized to reduce the number of non-certificated employees employed in the district for reasons of economy. And whereas the reasons of economy, the board finds it advisable to reduce the number of classroom and library aides through a reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows, that the following positions are hereby eliminated as a result of a reduction in force. 14 classroom aide positions and 1 library aide position. 2, that the affected employees will promptly be provided appropriate notification of their employment status. And 3, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employees. Do I have a motion
I motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
On that motion and second, Mr. D'Angelo.
When is that effective?
Immediately.
Immediately.
I believe so. Yes.
Something again? That'd be immediately, yes.
Okay.
That's what the board requested.
So we have a motion and a second on 46. Trustee Cruden?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
No.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Gerald?
No.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
No.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
If I could make a statement? I'd just like to say that the next series of numbers coming up in resolutions are all coming apart because of significant structural deficit. I mentioned this earlier at the workshop. This starts one of the toughest nights that I've ever had as far as being on the board, because it's addressing things that we really don't want to. I don't think anyone up here wants to. We are in a big deficit. It has to be addressed now, because unfortunately, this deficit, from what we understand, grows each day. So if we don't do something to change it, nothing will happen. I just want everyone to know that when we mention anyone, no one here that's going to be mentioned tonight was thought of for any other reason than a financial reason. Every person or all these people that we're talking about, in my estimate, are doing a terrific job. So it's really, that makes it that much more difficult to try to make these decisions. Unfortunately, a lot of these positions were added at a time when, from what I understand, the board in the past, the central office, was not aware of the financial problem they were in, and of course, added positions. So we're actually in a spot right now where we're trying to reverse, unfortunately, that decision, recognizing firmly that we don't have the money right now. And so I just wanted people to be aware of that. Everything we're doing is strictly of a financial matter, and nothing has to do with their performance at all. So, that being said, I say yes.
Okay, Resolution 46 passes. Resolution 47, whereas the Bayonne Board of Education is authorized to reduce the number of teaching staff members employed in the district whenever, in the judgment of the board, it is advisable to abolish any such positions for reason of economy or for any good cause pursuant to NJSA 18A 28-9. Whereas for reasons of economy, the board finds it advisable to reduce the number of teaching staff members through a reduction in force. Therefore, be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows. Number 1, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a result of reduction in force: Director of Planning, Research, Evaluation, Assessment, and Accountability. That 2, that the employment of Aliana Desjardins cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above-described reduction in force. 2, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27 4.1, Elena be transferred, reassigned to the position of Data Analysis Coordinator. 4, that the effective employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of her employment status. And 5, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
And a second?
I I second.
Mr. D'Angelo.
What's the savings in salary on this
Mr. Smith?
The 3-month savings, because we would have to give them 60-day notice, is $17,865.25.
I'm just curious, what union representation represents this employee? Is the BTA or the PSA? PSA, right? Okay, I just want to make that note. Okay.
Why is there a 2-month 60-day requirement? Isn't this the same as a transfer? One teacher to another?
No, this is a reduction.
Right,
Not a transfer.
I got that, but the board can't just transfer one day to the next, someone?
Yeah, we can transfer one day to the next, but this is not this includes a transfer, but it also includes a reduction, which is different.
So this won't take effect until,
The reduction won't take effect until the 60 days pass in the contract. The transfer would take effect whenever administration effectuates the transfer.
so for the 60 days, the person retains their original salary?
Yes.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and second on Resolution 47. Trustee Cruden?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
Not at this time.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Gerlich?
No.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
And President Broderick.
Yes.
48. Once again, and these resolutions are on the bulletin board. I'll skip the first 2 paragraphs. It's about a reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows. Number 1, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a result of a reduction in force. Director of Special Programs. 2, that the employment of Laura Craig cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above described reduction in force. 3, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1, Laura Craig be transferred, reassigned to the position of coordinator of the Academy of Fine Arts and Academics. 4, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of her employment status. And 5, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion?
I motion.
And a second?
I second.
Mr. D'Angelo?
Savings in money?
3-month savings, $17,077.75.
We have a motion and second on 48.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Mr. D'Angelo, you're going to ask the same question for every one of these?
Yes.
All right, is it possible that Mr. Smith can email you this information tomorrow?
I'd rather have it written into the record.
Okay,
so that everybody can
okay. What's
Okay.
a yearly saving? Can you say What's a yearly savings? Yeah, what's a yearly savings?
The yearly difference on Laura Craig would be $68,311.
And then on the 47 resolution.
And on Dr. Desjardins would be $59,404.
One more time, 59,000 what?
404 for Dr. Desjardins.
Thank you.
So we have a motion and second.
Excuse me, I'm mistaken. That was her salary. The difference would be $71,461.
I'm confused.
Dr. Desjardins, if it's a full year savings, would be $71,461.
So we have a motion and second on 48. Trustee Cruden?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
Not at this time.
Trustee Finerty?
Unfortunately, yes.
Trustee Gerlich?
No.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
No.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck,
Yes.
President Broderick.
I'd like to make one more statement, that the people that are being brought up also tonight, first plan had to do with not affecting individuals at all, as any employees. That was our first plan. Plan B was, which we're in at the moment, is to discuss individuals who would have the least, what we call student impact. Now, don't get me wrong, I know someone like Ms. Craig has a tremendous amount of student impact, but we're considering the classroom situation as a main priority at that time. So unfortunately, I have to vote yes.
49. Now therefore, I'm sorry? Yes. 49, also reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows. Number 1, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a result of reduction in force, Assistant Supervisor of Technology. Number 2, that the employment of Melissa Sis cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above described reduction in force. 3, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1, Melissa Sis be transferred, reassigned to the position of technology facilitator. 4, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of her employment status. 5, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
I'll make a motion.
and a second?
I second.
On that motion, and Mr.
Leo, yearly savings, Melissa Sis, $23,275. 3-month savings of $5,818.75.
So we have a motion and a second. Trustee Cruden?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
No.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
No.
Trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
No.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
All right, passes. Resolution 50, also reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved that the Bayonne Board of Education as follows, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a reduction in force. 1, assistant principal position. 2, that the employment of Christopher Romano cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above described reduction in force. 3, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1, Christopher Romano be transferred, reassigned to the position of grade 7 social studies teacher at the Midtown Community School. 4, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of his employment status. And 5, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
I motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
On that motion and second, I'm sorry, Mr. Smith.
Christopher Romano, yearly difference $61,914. 3-month savings $18,574.20.
So we have a motion and second on number 50. Trustee Cruden.
No.
Trustee Desmond.
Not at this time.
Trustee Finerty.
Yes.
Trustee Garlick.
No.
Trustee Lawande.
Yes.
Trustee Munoz.
No.
Is that a no?
No.
Okay. Trustee Ryan.
Yes.
Trustee Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Yes.
Number 50 passes. 51, also reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a result of reduction in force. 1, assistant principal position. 2, that the employment of Heather Zalis cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above-described reduction in force. 3, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1, Heather Zalis be transferred, reassigned to the position of grade 5 teacher at Nicholas Oresco Community School. 4, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of her employment status. 5, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
I motion.
and a second?
I second.
Mr. Smith?
Heather Zalis, difference on a yearly salary, $63,014. 3-month savings, $18,904.20.
Okay, so we have a motion and second on number 51. Trustee Cruden?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
No.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
No.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
No.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
51 passes. 52, also reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows. Number 1, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a result of reduction in force. 1 assistant principal position. Number 2, that the employment of Linda Hayes cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above-described reduction in force. That upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1, Linda Hayes be transferred, reassigned to the position of special education teacher at the Horace Mann Community School. Number 4, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of her employment status. Number 5, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
I motion.
and a second?
I second.
Cynthia Hayes, 12-month difference, $27,002. 3-month savings, $8,100.60.
So we have a motion and second on 52. Trustee Cruden?
No.
Trustee Desmond?
No.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
No.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
No.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
52 passes. Resolution 53. Whereas the Bayonne Board of Education is authorized to transfer a certificated or non-certificated officer or employee upon the recommendation of the superintendent pursuant to NJSA 18A 27-4.1. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows. That 1, that upon the recommendation of the superintendent, Michael Pearson, assistant principal at Midtown Community School, be transferred to the position of assistant principal at Bayonne High School. 2, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of his employment status. And 3, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
I motion.
and a second?
I second.
Do we need anything on that, Mr. D'Angelo? Okay, no. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on 53. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
No.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
It passes. 54, also a reduction in force. Now therefore be it resolved by the Bayonne Board of Education as follows, that, number one, that the following position is hereby eliminated as a result of reduction in force, risk manager. Two, that the employment of Christopher Patella cease in the position listed above pursuant to the above described reduction in force. Three, that the affected employee will promptly be provided appropriate notification of his employment status. Four, that the superintendent or her designee is authorized to provide the necessary notification to the affected employee. Do I have a motion
I'll motion.
and a second?
I'll second.
On that motion and second, on number 54,
Wait,
Comment.
somebody's hand went up? Oh, I'm sorry. We have a card, Dr. Resitar, Andrea Resitar, 22 West 41st Street, would like to ask a question on resolution number 54.
I never expected to get up and speak at the meeting tonight. I didn't realize we were doing all these reduction in forces. That was not very good English, but anyway. I'm really saddened to see that Mr. Patella's name is up on the chopping block tonight. I can't stress enough from just a personal aspect. When Mr. Patella first took the job, he happened to be at this first board meeting, and I talked about a situation with newly installed smart boards and the safety issues that were occurring in numerous classrooms because of draped wires, because of the way the electric was installed and where the smart boards were placed. He asked me to come if I was available and came at 10 o'clock at night up to my classroom to check on the situation. And somebody came to look at my room the next morning. It was fixed within a very short period of time. Another teacher had a problem with the floor in their room. There had been a flood, and the floor had been poorly maintained and not fixed for over a year after the flooding incident happened. Mentioned something to Mr. Patella because I happened to be in that room. And again, somebody came within less than a week, probably the next day. It's been a couple months and years already, probably soon after he started. And it was fixed. Something else, we saw a pothole. I happened to see him in the hallway. I said, oh, by the way, there's a bad pothole there. Wouldn't you know, within, a short period of time, it was fixed. I don't know that you can put a price on some of these things, because I know from experience that when I've had some problems in my room with windows or leaky ceilings and paint peeling, it took months or years to get certain things remediated. And yet Mr. Patella seemed to be, Johnny on the spot, getting things done. And I really feel bad that I think sometimes this might be, penny wise, dollar foolish at times, that if he's already been, I happen to be a part of the closed session, where if he brought in, savings of $300 by piggybacking on another, drug plan, or he reduced your premiums that had skyrocketed. I was at the meeting when you discussed the fact that because of your workman's compensations claim, your insurance premiums had just skyrocketed. So if he even held that at bay and they didn't get worse, there's a cost savings there. So I really would ask you to reconsider. I mean, I can't address everybody's reduction in force, but on a personal level, I really appreciate the job that Mr. Patella did to help make my classroom safer and another chemistry teacher's classroom safer. And, I would hate to see him go.
Okay. Name and address for the recorder, please.
Christopher Patella, 868 Broadway, Bayonne, New Jersey. I just want to thank Dr. Resitar for her comments. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, so on resolution 54, we have a motion and we have a second. On that motion and second, trustee Cruden,
No.
trustee Desmond,
I'm extremely conflicted tonight, as is everybody up here. Everybody's trying to do the right thing. I personally probably pitched hardest for this position, even more so than trustee Garrett, because I had worked with Chris in the past, and I fought him every bit of the way. I found lots of reasons why he should not approach things in a certain way, but I learned from him as well. All of the things that I said no to tonight, my personal feeling is I'd prefer to wait till the end of February, beginning of March, when we have some idea of the real dollars coming from the state before we start making moves. I fear that some of these moves will be done now and possibly again later because of bumping rights. I prefer things a lot more orchestrated. And I do know that Mr. Patella has brought great value to the position, and he has saved money for the district. And frankly, most of the savings will be in the future because this is just the beginning. I would prefer, frankly, since we're on the issue of reduction in force, that it be something that the business administrator's office take on, as they do in other school districts. I think we've learned a lot from Mr. Patella. I really am conflicted, but I regrettably say yes.
Trustee Finerty,
Yes?
trustee Garlick.
I'd just like to make a couple of comments. Again, as trustee Desmond mentioned, since I've been on this board, one of the thrusts that I've had was to control the insurance cost. And after a number of meetings with the former boards, we brought on a risk manager, which is very common in private industry, but kind of rare in the public sector. Mr. Patella has come on as a testimonial from Dr. Resitar just mentioned, has tackled every single problem that has come his way. He's reduced the risk factor in our insurance ratings. He's saved, by an estimate this year, $79,000 in one of the insurance premiums. And he's reduced the risk factor that insurance companies rate various clients from over 1.2 all the way down to 0.96, which unfortunately doesn't reflect itself in payments until later on when you renew your insurance rate, just as your car insurance. He has brought many, many ideas and corrected things before they happen, prevented accidents, prevented workman's comp claims, and prevented other serious injury to our employees that will ultimately result in higher medical costs and higher premiums. I'm disappointed, and with all due respect to the president that says this is a financial issue, this is a financial decision that's made, unfortunately, without a comprehensive plan in place looking down the road as to what we really need. And we haven't even gone through the budget crisis yet, and we're throwing so many people into turmoil. So with that, I vote no.
Trustee Lawanda,
Yes.
trustee Munoz.
Unfortunately, this is a very hard decision for everybody on this dais, but I'd like to just point out that unfortunately, other districts in this county who are more well-funded than us do not have this position. This type of position falls under the office and the directive of the business administrator. If finances were different, I would love to be a test pilot in the county to explore having a risk manager and how much we could possibly save. But the finances being what they are, I have to regrettably vote yes.
Trustee Ryan,
Yes.
vice president Wilbeck.
Yes.
President Broderick.
Just once again, I agree with what the other trustees said, that Mr. Patella has been nothing but a help. It's been terrific. He's saved us X amount of money, I'm sure, and I'm sure he would have in the future. But I can go back, this goes along with everybody that I mentioned tonight. Ms. Craig, she's terrific. She does a great job. Mr. Romano, terrific vice principal. I know Mr. Garlick disagrees with me about the situation, but seeing the finances that I've seen, we are really in a dire strait, and at this time, unfortunately, I'd have to vote yes.
Resolution passes.
salary and benefits about $86,000. I don't have the deal. Isn't the salary 86? What I benefit? I'll have to double check, but it's in that area. Okay.
Resolution 55. Whereas the current superintendent's contract expires on June 30th, 2017, whereas the Board of Education has provided the superintendent with written notice that her contract is not being renewed in accordance with NJSA 18A:17-20.1, whereas the Board of Education wishes to appoint an interim superintendent to fulfill the duties and responsibilities of the position of superintendent pending a search for a permanent replacement. Now therefore be it resolved that Dr. Michael A. Wonko be and is hereby appointed interim superintendent effective July 1, 2017. Be it further resolved that the said appointment is subject to agreement on the terms and conditions of employment and further subject to approval of the employment agreement by the executive county superintendent in accordance with all relevant statutes and regulations. Do I have a motion
I move.
and a second?
I'll second.
So we have a motion and a second on number 55. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Gerlich?
Yes.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
And I have one add-on, number 56, where there is currently pending a personnel matter between the Board of Education and BL, a certified teacher in the Bayonne School District. Whereas a proposed settlement agreement and general release has been negotiated between counsel for the Bayonne Board of Education and BL that will fully resolve all outstanding issues and disputes between the parties. Whereas the proposed settlement agreement will avoid the significant expenditure of time and resources on the part of the board, its administrators, and employees that would be necessary for the continuation of the pending matter. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby approves a settlement agreement and general release and authorizes the board president to execute the written settlement agreement on behalf of the board. Be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees hereby accepts the irrevocable resignation of BL effective March 1st, 2017. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And a second.
Chris?
I'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on number 56. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond?
Yes.
Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
Aye.
Trustee Lawanda?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan?
Yes.
Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
Mr. President, that's all I have for this evening, but we do have another card that someone filled out. I'll call him up. Major Andrew S. Shipashinsky, 76 West 31st Street.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I've been to a few of these meetings over the past years, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on which point of view, not enough. I have heard appeals made to sympathy, to common sense, to logic, to facts, to opinion, to emotion, none of which has ever worked in the past. Although I consider myself a fairly well-educated and experienced individual, at this point in time, I do not trust my own words to convey what I believe needs to be conveyed to everyone in this room. And so I have chosen to read a poem. I'm a history teacher, but I know a little bit of history. It was written by a Nobel Prize winner, a Nobel Laureate Prize winner, who was awarded the prize in 1980. He passed away in 2004, His name is Czesław Miłosz. The name of the poem is You Who Wronged. You who wronged a simple man, bursting into laughter at the crime, and kept a pack of fools around you to mix good and evil to blur the line. Though everyone bowed down before you, saying virtue and wisdom lit your way, striking gold medals in your honor, glad to have survived another day. Do not feel safe. The poet remembers. You can kill one, but another is born. The words are written down, the deed, the date, and you'd have done better with a winter dawn, a rope, and a branch bowed beneath your weight. This was written at a time when the country he lived in was run by an oppressive socio-political economic system. That system is now, thankfully, a part of history. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Angelo.
Tough to follow that. I'd like to request two things from the board. I need an accounting of the after-school childcare, before and after-school childcare, from September 2016 through December 31st of 2016. Can I get that from Mr. Smith? And second of all, I need copies of the contracts for all the administrators, supervisors, directors. All those passed last year, so I'd like updated copies with the salaries and any and all compensation that goes with it. Does that go through you?
The suggestion from our attorney is that you file an Oprah request to me, and I'll make sure that everything will be taken care of.
Why do I have to file an Oprah request?
Mr.
Because it's
Dispel?
going to be provided pursuant to the open public.
I can't hear you.
It'll be provided pursuant to, if it's an appropriate request, it'll be provided pursuant to the Open Public Records Act. That's all, so that it's properly run through the channels. That's how ordinarily people get documents from public entities.
I've requested that for the last 15 years, and I've gotten it by asking for it. What changed? The law?
I don't know. The law's been the same.
Oh, so I should be
General
able to get
counsel
it.
changed.
The general counsel. So you tell me unless I file the Oprah, I won't get it?
I'm telling you the appropriate way to get it from a public entity is by filing an Oprah request.
And I'm telling you, for 15 years, I didn't have to do that. Why are you throwing that roadblock in the way? That's public information, their salaries.
It is, and that's why you're entitled to it under Oprah.
Right.
Any other questions, or? Yes.
Hi, my name is Maureen Brown, and I'm principal of Woodrow Wilson School, and I would just like to ask the board
Just-
when the names.
Excuse me, name and address, please.
My name is Maureen Brown, my address is 109 Humphrey Avenue in Bayonne. I would just like to know when the names of the 14 teacher assistants are going to be released.
Tomorrow, Mrs. Brown.
Tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else?
Not hearing anything, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll motion.
Motion by trustee Cruden, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by trustee Munoz, so we have a motion and a second to adjourn. Trustee Cruden?
Yes.
Trustee Desmond? Trustee Finerty?
Yes.
Trustee Garlick?
Aye.
Trustee Lawande?
Yes.
Trustee Munoz?
Yes.
Trustee Ryan? Vice President Wilbeck?
Yes.
President Broderick?
Yes.
It is 10:24.